think you're connected, but you've never been more alone. It starts the same way it always does. You pick up your phone for just a minute. You tell yourself you're checking a message, a notification, maybe a quick news update. But you don't stop. You scroll, swipe, refresh, and refresh again. The minutes bleed into each other, and the hours disappear completely. It's 2:13 a.m. Your room's dark except for the soft glow of your screen. It paints your face in a pale blue, making you look ghostly in the reflection of the black glass around you. Your eyes burn from the light, but your thumb moves like it's been wired directly into the glass. Outside, the world is silent. Inside your head, it's chaos. A stream of clips, posts, ads, and voices that flash past faster than you can even register. You tell yourself it's connection, that you're keeping up, staying in touch, learning something. But you know better. This isn't connection. This is consumption. Somewhere along the way, you traded what's real for what's easy. You swapped the fire in your gut for the dopamine drip of a notification. You replaced deep conversations with short comments and emojis. You exchanged belly laughter with a nodding face on a screen. And here's the truth no one says out loud. It's killing you slowly, not in one big dramatic moment, but in the quiet erosion of who you are. You can feel it if you're honest. That slow leak of strength, that dulling of your edge. The version of you that used to walk into a room and take command now hesitates before speaking. The version of you that used to act boldly now thinks twice, scrolls once, and lets life move on without you. Every swipe, every just one more scroll drains you. Not just of time, but of presence, of depth, of the ability to sit across from someone, look them in the eye, being present. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow burn. That's why it's dangerous, because you never see the moment you actually lost something. Think back. When was the last time you truly felt alive? Not entertained, not distracted. Alive. Was it when you were staring at a phone? Or was it when you were shoulder to shoulder with men you trust, pushing each other past limits, laughing until you couldn't breathe, or standing in complete silence knowing you didn't need words to be understood? That's the difference. One feeds you noise, the other feeds your soul. Here's the hard truth. We are not built for isolation. Not as men, not as human beings. We are forged in fire, in the grind, in the test, in the moments of struggle and triumph shared with others. Take that away, and you strip yourself of the very conditions that make you grow. Your phone isn't just a tool anymore. It's become a cage. Every time you choose it over stepping out into the real world, you're reinforcing the bars. Cages aren't always made of steel. Sometimes they look like comfort. Sometimes they feel like safety. Sometimes they glow in your hand and convince you they're the only connection you'll ever need. The dangerous part, the longer you stay inside, the more the outside feels unfamiliar. The streets you used to walk now feel colder. The conversations you used to have feel harder to start. Your comfort zone shrinks until it's no bigger than the device in your palm. And you start believing the lie that this is normal. That everyone's like this now. That maybe this is just how things are. But deep down, you know better. You feel the gap. The gap between the man you are right now and the man you could be. A gap that used to be small enough to jump now feels like a canyon you'd have to climb down into and crawl out of. Here's the reality. That canyon gets deeper every day you choose the screen over the world. One day, if you're not careful, you won't even remember what it felt like to be on the other side. That's why this moment matters. Because the first step in breaking out of any cage is realizing you're in one. The truth is, men are not built for isolation. We're not wired for it. From the beginning of time, we've lived, fought, and built side by side. We've survived storms, wars, and winters by moving as a unit, by leaning on the man next to us, and knowing he's leaning back. We are designed for friction, for struggle, for the clash of willpower and the sharpening of steel on steel, for the heat that comes from competition, brotherhood, and being tested. But here you are, alone, sitting in a chair, staring at a glowing rectangle, convincing yourself this is enough. And here's the danger. The longer you live in this digital cage, the softer you get. Not always in your body, in your mind. Your reflexes slow, your edge dulls. Your instincts, the ones that once read danger, opportunity, and truth in an instant, you stop noticing things you used to feel without thinking. The shift in a man's posture when he's about to challenge you. The subtle look in someone's eyes when they're lying. The energy in a room before something important happens. You lose these skills because you're not in the places that demand them. You're in a world that gives you control over every interaction. Mute, block, ignore. A world where you can exit any conflict with the swipe of a finger. And without realizing it, you've built a fortress. Not of brick, not of steel, but of avoidance. Your phone has become your armor. It shields you from awkward moments, from risk, from the possibility of failure or embarrassment. But here's the brutal truth. That armor is also your prison. It doesn't just protect you from danger, it keeps you from growth. You tell yourself you're just tired, that it's not the right time, that maybe next week you'll go out and do something real. But weeks turn into months, and slowly, without a single dramatic moment, you become a spectator in your own life. That primal part of you, the one that thrived on risk, on action, on being out in the world, starts to starve. It withers from disuse. Because this isn't just about friendship. It's about forging. Men sharpen men. Not through likes, not through comments, but through sweat, confrontation, and real-time respect earned in the field. You can't replicate that through a screen. No matter how many group chats you have, no matter how many live streams you watch, you can't feel the heat of competition or the weight of respect through pixels. The truth is, risk is what you've been avoiding. Risk of feeling out of place. Risk of looking inexperienced. Risk of realizing you have more work to do than you thought. And the more you avoid that risk, the more it owns you. It's like staying inside for months. At first you're comfortable, but eventually your muscles weaken, your lungs shrink, and the sunlight itself feels foreign on your skin. That's what's happening to your confidence right now. It's atrophying from lack of use. You keep telling yourself, I'm just recharging, but you're not. You're hiding, and every time you choose the screen over the street, you're feeding the part of you that's afraid to step forward. The cost is compounding. Opportunities missed, discipline eroded, connections you could have had but never made. And one day, when you need that sharpness, when you need to stand tall, speak with conviction, lead without hesitation, you might reach for it and find nothing there. Not because you never had it, but because you let it die, piece by piece, in the dark, while the blue glow kept you comfortable. Don't flinch now. The turning point is coming. You remember the last time you felt truly alive, not just moving through your day, not just entertained for a few minutes. Alive. Maybe it was years ago, standing shoulder to shoulder with your friends before a challenge. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and steel. Your heart pounded in your chest, sinking with the man beside you. You didn't need to say a word. The look in your eyes said everything. We're in this together. Or maybe it was the night you stayed out too late, talking about everything and nothing at the same time. The conversation flowed so naturally you forgot the clock even existed. There were no filters, no curated versions of yourself, just the real thing, raw, honest, present. Or maybe it was during a moment of pain, pushing past your breaking point with someone right there, yelling in your ear to keep going, refusing to let you quit. The kind of moment that hardens you, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. That feeling, that oxygen is what you've been missing. And here's the truth. You can't breathe without it forever. You can survive without it, but you can't live without it. Here's the shift. You don't get that feeling back by waiting. It won't just show up on your doorstep like a package. You get it by showing up. By walking out the door and putting yourself back into the rooms, the fields, the gyms, the tables where men sharpen men, it doesn't matter if it feels awkward at first. It doesn't matter if you've convinced yourself you don't have the time. Because every day you stay away, every day you pick the screen instead, the cage you're in grows stronger. That fire you miss, it's not gone, it's buried under layers of comfort, distraction, and the lie that online connection is the same as the real thing. You have to stop thinking about it as leaving your comfort zone. Start seeing it as reclaiming your territory. The gym where you used to push yourself harder than you thought possible. The local spot where conversations went deep instead of wide. The places where your instincts sharpen, where you remember you're built for more than scrolling. Because when you stand in front of someone and speak, when your words, your presence, your energy land without lag or filter, that's when you remember what you're capable of. That's when the edge comes back. You want your fire back? Go to the places where you might lose, where you might be challenged, where you might fail and be forced to rebuild in front of other men. That's how trust is built. That's how respect is earned. That's how bonds become unbreakable. And if it's been a long time, if the cage has gotten too comfortable, here's the good news. The way out was never locked. It's been open the whole time. All it takes is one decision. One yes to an invite you'd normally decline. One call to a friend. Let's train tomorrow. One choice is to put the phone down, open the door and step back into the world where life is lived at full volume. If you want something that forces you to show up, a structure that keeps you accountable and helps you rebuild that edge, I've linked the best tools I know in the description below. They're not gimmicks. They're frameworks to get you out of your head, back into action, and into the fight where you belong. Because this isn't just about breaking a habit. It's about taking back a life that was never meant to be lived through glass. This is it. The moment where the talking stops and the doing starts. The point where every truth you've just heard either becomes fuel or fades into another forgotten video you watched while you stayed exactly the same. You're standing at a crossroads. One road is paved smooth, no challenges, no risk, no discomfort. It's the road you've been walking. The one that loops endlessly inside the walls of your cage. The one that tells you, stay here, you're fine, you've got time. The other road, it's uneven, rough, full of moments where you'll be tested. But it's the only road that leads anywhere worth going. And here's the brutal truth. No one's coming to drag you out of the cage and push you down that road. No rescue party. No cinematic aha moment that makes it easy. If you're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mood, the perfect burst of motivation, it's not coming. You walk out yourself. And that's why most men never leave. They sit in the cage, convincing themselves it isn't really a cage at all. They tell themselves they're connected because they click like. They call it friendship because someone responds to their story. They call it loyalty because someone's name shows up in the comments. But deep down, they feel it. They know the difference between pixels and presence, between watching life and actually living it. So here it is, your choice. Path 1. Stay where you are. Keep scrolling. Keep pretending you're engaged while life passes by in the background. And every single day, that gap between who you are and who you could be stretches wider, until one day, you can't even see the other side. Path 2. You make the choice to step out. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, you put the phone down. You stand up. You walk into a place that demands more of you than you want to give, and you give it anyway. Call a friend and tell them you're showing up. Go back to the gym even if you've been gone for months. Join the group that scares you because you might be the slowest, weakest, or least experienced, because those are the exact places where you will grow. That's where respect is earned. That's where the real fire is reignited. That's where you become dangerous again in the right way. And here's what you'll notice. It won't take years. It won't even take months. One night around a table with people who see you, challenge you, and push you, and you'll remember. One real unfiltered conversation where you can feel the weight of the words, and you'll remember. One hard session where your body's burning and your mind is screaming quit, and you don't, and you'll remember. You'll remember that you were never meant to live through a screen. You were meant to live where the dirt is under your feet, the sweat is in your eyes, and the victory is earned with your own two hands. So here's my challenge. Today, not later. Do something that shatters the pattern. Something that makes you uncomfortable. Something that reminds you you're alive. And when you do it, don't just fade back into the feed. Lock in. Subscribe to the Power Playbook. Not because it's content, but because this is where men who refuse to settle sharpen each other. Men who choose the harder path because they know it's the only path worth walking. This isn't about algorithms. This is about building something real. A tribe of men who hold the line, who show up when it matters, who refuse to let comfort dull their edge. So, which path are you taking? The glass cage, or the real world where the fire lives? The door's open. It's been open the whole time. Step through.